manifested it. What's usually high?
Is your head still cut off though?
Probably.
Should we fix that or no?
I don't care.
Okay.
He doesn't care. It's not Wendy's podcast.
It's not.
Is she really particular like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's like, I don't like the way that you look on there. I was like, this is my face, and she's like, that's not what I mean. I'm like, what?
Hey, she knows what she likes. You got to give it to her, you know?
Yeah.
You know, Michael Jackson was like super picky about every minute of his.
Every angle, everything. I remember I heard about that too.
Yeah. You know how he used to like write music? He would just tell them what it's supposed to sound like. Can you have it go? And then I'm
In
gonna
that
come
voice?
in like, and then I'm gonna have the bass go, and then layer it, and then I was like, he beatboxed every instrument.
Well, he was a genius.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you
Hey.
know. All right, guys, let's reel it in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Be Uplifted. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, I was waiting for the extra sound.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, as you can see, we have another beautiful special guest. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Go ahead and introduce yourself for those of you, or for those that have not watched you on our show yet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bayan. I also go by Persianskater. I live here in San Diego. Friends with all these guys. And yeah.
Yeah, we have Bayan here because she's an Iranian missile expert. So today's topic, we're going to talk about Iran dropping bombs on Israel.
Not really, guys. He said that when we walked in, when me and Bayan walked in, and we were both like, so we don't know anything about that, right? Well, not that we don't know anything, but we're not versed enough to be comfortable talking about it.
Ari was like, let me go research real quick.
I was like,
No,
hold
no, I'm
on.
just
Let me
kidding.
not look like a dumbass on this fucking episode.
I know nothing at all.
I just know it's not right, guys. That's all I know.
Anyway, what's the topic today?
All right, so today's topic is communication styles and how they affect intimacy and conflict resolution.
The blank stare.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, y'all need to listen better.
This
No,
is gonna be a
you
fun
know
one.
what I learned? I don't know if this is like what the direction that you're going in, but I kind of found this out a couple nights ago.
What is this?
You need to discover
I
a
have
lot
to-
of things a couple
Well,
nights
nights
ago.
Well, I don't think that people understand when I'm joking around.
We were,
Oh, we were just
just
talking-
discussing that.
Yeah.
While you were asleep.
You guys were.
Yeah, while you were sleeping.
We
On
were
the,
saying that we can't tell 95% of the time whether you're joking or not joking
Well, what's so hard about it?
because you always have the same tone.
But I figure like I say ridiculous things, and you should, or I'm sorry, not you, but I mean like people should understand that, like it's stupid.
We don't know where that line is with you.
So
Okay.
let me tell you why.
Here we go.
there you go.
This is what happened. I was helping out one of my coworkers at the strip club, and I was doing video, and she's like, "What do you think of it?" I was like, "You look good." And she's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, you get lots of guys. I'll date you." And she's all, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I was like, "Yeah, but it has to be by Friday because I have a coupon for Wendy's that expires by then."
Use a Wendy's line again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's obviously ridiculous, right? You're in a club where guys are throwing hundreds of dollars at you, and I'm here trying to take you to Wendy's. She's all like, "Oh, we could go somewhere else." I was like, "Oh no, but my mom wants to borrow the car this week." So,
But see, when you go into that much detail, a girl is going to think that you're being serious.
What do you mean my mom's going to borrow the car this
as in the fact that like we all share one car,
Like he doesn't
You
have
know?
a car.
Yeah.
so like I don't have my own
Right.
car.
Exactly.
I can't afford to, take her out and stuff like that. That's why I was really trying to disqualify myself. And then this girl's like, "Well, I can drive." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
because if someone doesn't know your dry ass sense of humor, she's really going to be like, "Oh no, he doesn't have a car." You know what I mean? Like,
no." But in the industry that we're at, and the way that I've met a lot of girls with all of these high standards, wouldn't that just be an automatic like red flag? I'm not going to date you. She could have at least like understood, Even if she thought I was telling the truth, why didn't she just be like, "Oh yeah, you're not my type"?
Because
But
maybe she likes you.
Yeah, but not everybody thinks that way though. Like you want to go out. I'll drive.
That's so
Yeah, you're
weird.
thinking this just because she's a stripper that she has to have different standards.
Or just
No,
because
it's
she's a
not-
girl that she's going to be a
That's
bitch.
the one.
See, this goes back to your trauma.
What would you call it?
I don't think I have trauma.
You're wounded. You're wounded.
All right. So I thought we would start out by discussing the different types of communication styles. So I'm going to go ahead and read those off to us, okay? So there are, how many? 5 different types of communication styles, okay? So I'm going to read them, and then you guys kind of like get your brain going and see what you relate to or which one you feel that you have. So the first one is aggressive communication, okay? That involves forcefully expressing thoughts, feelings, needs, sometimes neglecting others' feelings. It often includes intimidation, blame, and disregarding different perspectives, basically.
Like gaslighting.
Yes.
I would describe my style as passive aggressive.
So examples of aggressive communication is it's my way or the highway. You never understand anything. Why can't you do anything right? You're just too stupid to get it.
He's going to be triggered.
He's gonna tell everybody he has an aggressive style now. Now
That checks out.
So it says here the benefits of aggressive communication
See, benefits.
Yeah,
Here we go. This
is
is
it
what.
might seem appealing initially.
See,
However, there's short-term gains to it. Because initially it seems like you take control.
How is that a
you know what you
positive?
want. No, that's the only positive. Initially, it seems like you take control. You know what you want, but there's only short-term gains in that.
if it's initially and it's short term, then I think that's a win.
All right, we're gonna move on. Okay.
No, but okay, if something initially happens and it doesn't last that long, so that whole time it's good,
Okay, so the next one.
right? I mean, by default, if something's only gonna be good for 1 month, but it's only a 1 month relationship, that's a good relationship.
So that's your standards. Okay, the next one is passive communication style. So this is characterized by a hesitancy to articulate one's thoughts, emotions, and desires. Individuals favoring this style of communication, they put others above their own often. And examples of that is whatever you think is fine. I don't want to bother anyone. It's not a big deal. I'm sure it's my fault as usual. So those are examples of
That's
those.
like me.
Or
That's
don't
not
worry,
me.
I'll drive.
Yeah. Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the 5 and then we're going to ask some questions and talk about it. Okay. And then the next one is passive aggressive communication
Oh.
style. This is a unique blend of both. Okay. So it involves expressing negative emotion, but indirectly, and having passive and resistance or veiled criticisms. So examples of that is no offense, but
Oh, that's me.
I guess I'll do everything myself.
That's definitely me.
I didn't think you'd care anyways.
Gosh.
Sure, we can go to your favorite restaurant again. It must be nice to be so perfect. So that's aggressive, passive communication.
It's
Passive
gonna be
aggressive.
therapy for me.
And then let's see. Oh, manipulative communication style involves using deceitful tactics such as lying, denying, or concealing the truth to achieve your goals. Examples of that is, I had to do it. You left me no choice. I didn't anticipate your reaction. I'm surprised you're upset. I never really committed. You're mistaken. I never stated that. I didn't foresee such a strong response. It's how you interpreted it. So that's manipulative.
Sadistic.
So for those that are watching on YouTube, can you start a tally or a count or watch back how many times she looked at me directly after she said something? I'm really curious. I'm guessing around 75%.
Yeah, but that makes you're well rounded. Because
Yeah,
you're
there
every
you go.
communication style.
See,
All the
I'm
aggressive
so good
ones.
at communicating. It's a you problem.
Right.
Okay, and then the next one is assertive communication style, often regarded as the best and the most constructive and balanced style. It involves expressing thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and respectfully while actively still listening to others. Examples of it is, I appreciate your consideration, but I do disagree. I value your input, but I have a different perspective.
Why are you not breaking eye contact with me?
Because I'm waiting for you to react.
I'm like,
We're waiting for her to look at you, but she hasn't yet.
yeah.
I want to share my feelings without judgment. I require some downtime and I'll notify you when I'm ready. So those are the most common types of communication styles. So do you guys feel like you relate to any one of those?
Can you list them without the descriptions one
Yes.
round?
One more time. So we have aggressive communication style. We have passive
I'm more passive.
communication style.
I thought that was the third one.
No, that was the second one. The third one is passive aggressive
Oh, okay.
communication style.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then we have manipulative communication style.
I want to learn that one.
And then we have assertive communication style. I personally feel like I'm assertive mixed with passive aggressive.
I feel like I'm the bottom three. Like
Okay.
mix of the bottom three.
That's probably a good same.
I'm
Yeah.
probably a mixture of all of the good ones. See how much happiness that brought everybody? They obviously agree.
What about you, Kuya? What do you relate with?
I'm definitely more on the passive side. I'm not necessarily passive aggressive because I think there's just it's so much like
I definitely see
there's
that.
so much effort to be passive aggressive, you know,
Yeah.
because you're trying to fish out like some sort of fight, and I'm like, I
Right.
don't
I
even
think
wanna
that's
worry
a good
about
way to put it. You're like fishing for a fight, but you're not bold enough to start the fight almost.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm definitely passive.
So
I can see that.
tell me how how does your communication style show up in your daily life, would you say? So like let's say in your relationship.
I sometimes don't necessarily like finish my thoughts when I'm talking because I'm like there's so many things going on and like I'll be talking about one thing and it's just like
And you're kind of just like whatever and you like let it go.
yeah or I'll say something and in my head I'll be like oh, it doesn't fucking matter anyway, then I'll just stop. But you forget that the other person's listening to you,
Right.
and they go, well, what is it? Oh, nothing. Then you just walk away. You know what I mean? It's not that good either.
You create a lot of confusion for people around you.
Yeah.
Especially in your relationship,
Yeah.
that she probably doesn't know where she's left standing in the conversation often.
Right. Like, well, I'll be talking about something and I'll be like, oh, I think we need to get one of these. And then in my head, I'm going, no, that's not.
So you're thinking about it, but you're not finishing the
It's
thought.
not gonna fit. You know, I'm like, nah, never mind. You know, and I just go and I'll just stop. You know, like I'm like, I think we get one of these things.
Oh, I can't do the
for-
never mind. That drives me
Finish your
insane.
sentence.
Yeah. The never mind. And I was even my kids. I'm like, no, never mind. What were you going to say? I always say that.
Yeah.
How about you, Vince? How do you think your communication style shows up in everyday life?
I have the luxury of not needing to communicate with anybody, so I'm good.
So that's an example of how it shows up in his everyday life.
No, I again, I have that luxury where I don't really have to please anybody, so I just tell them this is how it is.
So that's why you're more on the aggressive side because you don't really give a shit about people's feelings.
No, I only care about the end result. And if, like, let's say if I'm hungry, right? And let's say I'm with somebody, I'm hanging out with them. I'll give them the opportunity to choose where we eat. If they don't guess the first time, or if they give that answer where you pick, I'll say, okay, well, I'll start ordering on Uber Eats, and then I'll give them the phone. It's like, here, you pick. Or I'll say, okay, well, I'm going here. And if they say, I don't want that, and I was like, okay, well, let me know on the way back, and I might be able to stop by and pick whatever it is that you want up for you. You know, but ultimately, it's like, I'm hungry for me. I was being courteous to you to see if you wanted to eat too. But if you're going to complicate it, that wasn't the goal in the beginning, to please you. that was just the convenience.
And you also don't like it the other way around when people ask you if you're hungry more than once, right?
Yeah, why would you ask me, hey, are you hungry? No, I'm good. Are you sure? I was like, I'm pretty sure. I was there when I said it the first time.
And that was an example of the passive aggressive.
Yep. I told him that you did that to me when you were sleeping. That was one of the points that came up. I was
I
like,
never said that when I was sleeping.
no, when you were sleeping, that was the story we were talking about you. One
How
of
was
the
I
stories
asleep?
for a long time. We were here for about an hour before you woke up.
Yeah, we had a couple
Yeah.
of conversations.
The thing with asking people if they're hungry or not, sometimes I do ask a second time because I never know what the situation is for that other person.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I'm like, hey man, you hungry? And then they're like, nah, because I don't know. Maybe they have like $2 in their bank account.
Right.
They can't eat. But I'll be like, no, come on, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'll ask several times just to make sure.
That's same.
Vince doesn't like that.
No, Vince don't like that. I'm joking. I'm talking shit because I had asked him. He probably doesn't even remember because he's so used to being a dick, But I asked him if he wanted to eat when we bought food for the podcast not too long ago. And then he said no. And then I double checked after I got everyone's order if he was sure. And he was like, I'm pretty sure I was there the first time I answered it. No. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. With my tail between my legs, like, goddamn.
Why would I have said no the first time if I didn't mean it?
Because maybe you heard people's orders and you were like, oh, that actually sounds good. Or maybe.
But other people have no influence on what I want unless I ask for their opinion.
What's the problem with confirming a second time?
Because it's
stupid,
useless.
he says.
Redundant?
I mean, I don't know.
It's redundant,
There's this
I
thing
think it's
called
considerate.
communication.
Yeah, I think it's
I mean,
considerate.
I just want to talk to people sometimes. Be like, hey man, you sure? You sure I got you? You sure?
I feel like also different cultures have different like some cultures you're supposed to not say yes the first time.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
you don't know because it's such a mix of cultures here. So you never know where they're coming from.
Well, if that's the case too, that could also be looked at. We're both working against each other because Filipinos, when it comes to food, we're very giving. Like there's always too much food when you go to a Filipino party.
Right.
But at least in my household, we've always been taught to not be a burden on anybody. So we try to be as polite and refuse help whenever.
Right.
we
Which
can,
goes
but we
back to
always
what he's
give.
saying. That's why you confirm sometimes because you're like, there's no burden here. Like, are you sure you don't want anything? You know?
No, I'm good.
All right. Okay. So going further. Oh, how about you, Bayan? How do you think your communication style shows up like in your everyday life?
So I was the passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like I try to not make the situation more complicated by being nice, but then my anger like sneaks in.
Through the back door.
Yeah. And it's like it's like almost like a resentment, and then all of a sudden it comes out in a comment, like a sarcastic comment.
Oh, if you use that example, that's probably me a little bit too, because I do have like sarcastic little
Snarky comments
here and there. That's
like,
true.
People will be like, you're tiny and spicy. Like they'll like make these comments because I'm sarcastic and passive aggressive. I think I get that comment.
That makes sense.
I wonder if there's a test that we could take for this because there's a lot of times where you can self-reflect and you can see which one identifies with you the most, but a lot of this is something that would be due to your subconscious. So when you're consciously thinking about it, it's kind of, you can convince yourself that you are this. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you take a test for it, like if somebody said you're such and such personality trait because you're this zodiac sign, you know, a lot of people, girls, will say, "Oh yeah, that makes so much sense." But if you were to ask me all of these personality traits, all these questions, because every time they ask me, I'll say something like, "Oh, I'm a Libra," and then they're like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." I was like, "Okay, but I'm actually not. I'm more of a Taurus." And then they're
you might
like,
have Libra in your chart.
and then they're like, "Oh, now I get it. Yeah, you are a Taurus." I'm like, "I'm actually a Scorpio," and they're like, "I don't believe you." And I was like, "Okay." You know what I mean? But when you're talking to somebody and you're having that conscious that cognizance of what they're saying, and you find a way to relate yourself to that, it's easy to identify as, oh, I'm the aggressive, I'm the passive aggressive, I'm the bottom, whatever it is. I forget the other ones.
The bottom.
You know? So I don't know. I don't know if the things that I'm thinking are actually like how that personality trait would
But
be,
I don't
or-
think I think everybody has a little bit of
All of
everything,
it.
all of
Yeah.
it. But I think it's just like you just gotta. I don't know. It's just the way that you communicate with people.
Well, it's like the love language thing. Like
Right.
everybody is everything. You know, it just might be like
You have
one
a
of them is
primary,
up
yeah.
5%,
Yeah, for sure.
the other one's like 70%.
Yeah.
But everybody wants part of all of that. But then if you just tell them what love languages are, somebody would say, "Oh, I guess I'm physical touch." Well, maybe they're just horny. They haven't been touched for like 3 months. You know?
Well, they say your love language is usually what was lacking in your childhood.
Yeah.
So.
It does. It can also change too.
Right,
But
that too.
It's more accurate if you were to do it through a test.
Yeah, I mean, there's a test here, so we could take it afterwards and
Okay.
update it on the story.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
everyone's
I could
is.
totally be passive aggressive too. So I mean, that sarcastic voice comes out.
Right. So going deeper, how do you feel that your communication style affects your intimate relationships, like with your partner?
Oh God.
I have none.
So that's the biggest problem. This is why he has not.
Success.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just you got to learn each other's ways of communication, and not necessarily how they communicate, that's how they accept the communication too.
So you said earlier that you feel like it affects your intimate relationship because you leave your partner kind of hanging.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you try to accommodate her more, knowing that that's what you do?
But you know what? It's one of those things where it's frustrating for the other person, but they have to remind me, like, finish what you're gonna say, because it's like, again, my mind goes.
So you don't even do it intentionally. It's
I don't-
almost like blindly doing it sometimes. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just who you are.
Wow.
Yeah, because we could be talking about something and I could be editing the thumbnail, but
you have
then
ADHD.
not necessarily. Maybe undiagnosed, but like if let's say we were talking about where to eat,
Yeah.
right? But I'm also doing the thumbnail
Right.
for this podcast. Then I'm like Ari's head's too big, blah blah blah, and then she's like, "You like Chinese food?" Yeah, I mean Chinese food's good, but oh, fuck this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't mean to do it. That's the hardest part. It's like be really aware,
Mindful.
of the it's almost like it makes it better if I repeated, like if she was saying something, I would kind of repeat it to know that active listening.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm actually
Active
listening,
listening.
and then it helps that conversation a little bit more than go
Yeah.
Well, I've done that. Because as you guys know, I'm customer service agent, clearly because of my communication skills. But there's oftentimes that the customer would say something, and then I'll just say, okay, so I do want to understand that I'm on the same page as you, because it's hard for me to visualize this. So I'll go through the list, and then they'll confirm it, and then I'll say, okay, when you said this, I'm picturing you're talking about this, but then do you actually mean this? So I try to be, as understanding as possible.
You think you carry that over into your intimate relationships, though?
Yeah,
There-
that's what I was gonna ask.
I think I have, because when somebody says something to me, I try to ask them what they mean, because what they said what they mean might be different from what I understood.
So what if
Oftentimes it is.
and then when they explain it and you still feel like it's stupid, that's when you express it? They're stupid?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would tell no. If they say something that's stupid, right? I'll tell them, I was like, okay, well, this is what that actually means. There's no B in supposedly, or something like that. Because you can't supposed to. There's no B. The
So-
root word. Anyways, so no, but the whole point is that
I'm all-
I'll tell them how I understood it. I will let them know that I understood how I think that they meant it after they explained it to me.
Okay.
And then I'll tell them, although these are conflicting and I think I understand it from your point of view, I still think that I'm right.
Okay.
But I'll give them an opportunity to tell them, or for them to tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, so when you're in a relationship, you don't just go straight to you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're wrong. You at least give them like a moment to speak their piece.
I
Wait, you
give them
name
that
call?
moment, and I'm also very careful with the words that I say. I never say you're stupid. I say that's stupid.
Oh.
You know, because I can call. There's a difference between calling somebody stupid and saying that they did something stupid.
That's true.
Okay.
I
At
agree
least
with
you're
that.
aware with that.
Yeah.
I try to do that. I'm actually trying to be a better person. I don't know if you guys believe me in that, but I am. I don't think Rich believes me. I wish we could cut away from this angle. He was just,
I was waiting for her because it was so silent. They were just staring at you.
I'm giving him room to talk, so it's okay. How about you, Brian? How do you think that your communication style shows up in like your intimate relationships, or how it affects your emotional intimacy? Because we talk about what you do already, but how do you think it affects it, like either positively or negatively?
I think it's negative because I'm not being honest like from the beginning. So I'm like the passive aggressiveness. If I was just, what was the fifth one? The one where
Assertive.
you assertive
bottom.
at the bottom. If I was assertive, I think that would serve me well. And I think in my intimate relationships, it's like it creates that hot and cold because they never know what's going on either. Like they don't, kind of like what we were talking about with Vince. It's like if I don't know if he's joking, so now I'm confused. And I feel like when I'm being passive aggressive, they don't know if I'm joking or if I'm actually upset or.
So are you one of those girls that does the silent treatment thing when you're
Yes.
upset?
I do the silent treatment thing, and I want you to
Figure it out.
figure it out.
I love that, by the way. If you give me a silent treatment, I take it as if it's not important enough for you to talk about it, it's not important enough for me to care about it.
Yeah.
So
we're not gonna. I mean, myself personally, I'm not gonna go search for problems. If you're not saying anything, then I'm gonna feel like, okay, well, you
I like that.
you handled that on your own. I'm not gonna go dig. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go. I'm perfectly good right now.
But at the same time, that's also why I thought of that when you were saying finish your sentence. Because to me, if somebody doesn't finish their sentence, that's really convenient for me. Because now it's another thing that I don't have to think about. Because you didn't vocalize what your thought was. So if it's not important enough for words, it's not important enough for my thoughts.
But on you know, for the other person though, they care enough about you to understand you and listen to you. Then you cut it off,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean.
Wait,
So
that.
they're investing their time to actively listen to you, and then you just cut it off like it doesn't matter. So you're really saying, I don't care if you're listening or not. This is all me.
I'm so proud of you for having
Wait.
such good
That was-
self-reflection.
Yeah,
Good
that was
job.
good.
So wait, was that in that scenario? Am I cutting you off when you're talking and then you just stop talking?
Look,
No, he's cutting you off from the fact that you're listening intently. Does that make sense?
yeah, like I didn't care enough about you listening to what I was saying to just dismiss you.
Right.
I'm dismissing you at that point.
Like, for example, if I came to Bayan and I was like talking to her about something that was bothering me, right? And mid story, I was like, you know what? Never mind, forget it. That's almost making her feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost making her feel like, well, you don't fucking care anyway, so never mind. Like, it's like dismissing the other person when they've taken the time to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah. Like if I walked in the door and go, Vince, man, we got to talk. There's this fucking issue. I just don't know how you know what? Fucking then I leave and you're like, then you've already kind of invested the time to kind of prop up and put your, pay attention to me. And it's like, oh, well, then fuck, that was useless.
Yeah. It's like, damn, you kind of left me hanging. It's
Yeah.
the same way that I feel like I said a few minutes ago when my kids will start a story or like, Mom, da da da, and they're like, never mind. And I'm like, no, never mind. Finish your thought, because that's actually one of my pet peeves. I do not like someone leaves me with never mind because of the same reason. I'm like, I just sat here and listened to you, and now you're going to fucking cut me off.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like blue ball in this conversation, you know?
If you continue though, like, oh, never mind because.
Right. Yes. If there's a reason for the never
There's
mind.
a because. Never mind because
I can see it from a different couple of different ways.
Okay.
The first one, where if Rich comes in, is like, Vince, we really need to talk. I need to. Oh, never mind. I think he would just solve the problem on his own, and I'm like, cool. But there are also some times that I've dated somebody, and they would speak English to me, but they don't say anything. When they would say,
meaning what?
Hey, like, kind of, I'm like, that's your whole sentence? What context was that? And I bet you two are laughing because you've heard that from the person that I'm talking about.
I honestly pictured her in front of me right now.
I didn't say what gender she was, but now that we have that out there.
Yeah. Don't assume the gender.
Yeah. See, again, I was being conscious. I was trying to like keep, because it's easy to picture this person saying that. But see, in those particular scenarios, I'm like, use your words.
Yeah. What about the silent treatment that comes right after? Like, you just pissed this person off, and they're just like, you know what?
Are you asking this because this is a scenario that you would create sometimes?
Yeah, I would create this.
Oh, I don't care.
The silent treatment?
Like she's upset, but now she's giving them the silent treatment.
I would love that. Oh my God, what am I going to do with all this peace? I can be in my own thoughts.
You open up Pandora's box sometimes when you want, like, I get the silent treatment, and I'm like, and then they're like, you're not gonna say anything, and I go, what do you want me to say to appease this? When I already said I was wrong. What more can I say to solve the problem?
So that's a good question for you, Brian. When you give the silent treatment, what would you feel better moving forward for your partner to do?
What are you expecting?
Yeah, what are you expecting for them to do in that moment?
I think there's different scenarios. I think sometimes I'm expecting space. Like, I'm pissed off. It's not that I'm giving you a silent treatment. It's just, I don't want to talk right now. I've had that. And then there's the times where I'm just like pissed and I have nothing to say. So in that scenario, I probably wouldn't even want them to talk. I'd want them to just like come and hug me and like just be with.
But the problem is you gave them the silent treatment. I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I asked that is because most women that I know, that's what they use the silent treatment for, as like manipulative. Yours doesn't sound like a manipulative tactic. It seems more like, this is how I feel and I need a moment. Whereas like most women use it as like, I'm about to fucking give you the silent treatment because I want you to chase after me and I want you to fucking read my mind.
I'm not a mind reader. I'm like, I don't know what else to do at this point. Like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. Now what? Like, I can't.
You could do that. You can actually just do that. Just be like, okay, you know what? You're being silent right now. So I already apologize. I'm going to apologize one more time. And then I'm going to let you be. You come to me when you're ready.
I think women that I've spoken to, what they're expecting is for you to not necessarily chase, but like make the effort. That's what they're looking for. And like what you said, I think is just like, I think that's sufficient. Like being like, I fucked up, right? I fucked up. I'm sorry. Come to me when you're ready.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of men that don't do that. They're just like, their women and they're kind of like Vince, where they're like, well, this is fucking great. I'm about to bounce and she's not talking to me.
Well, what happens when it's flipped? When the guy gives you the silent treatment?
Same thing. Hey, I'm sorry for what I did.
No, like I said, just the same thing.
Well, from a male's perspective, because a woman is more emotional, they're doing it for that reason. What is a male's reason for being, would you say is the
because I'm annoyed. I'm more like there's no.
So it's a little different, right?
There's no point to this.
Now.
Yeah, because I hate you now. He said, "Because I hate you now." That's why.
So what do you want? Is that the breakup? Your silent treatment as a man?
No, not the breakup. It's just like,
Wait, why would you give that up? You have an easy out.
what do you mean?
Wait, so it is the breakup
For you, it is.
Yeah.
Wait, the break out?
No, break up. He's
Break
saying
up.
that. Okay, she's asking like, if you give a girl a silent treatment, is that your basic way of saying like, I'm done?
No, I just right now is not the time to talk about it.
So it's almost like
it's
her.
like
You
what
just
I
need a
said.
moment.
Yeah.
You just need a
Well,
moment.
if you give the silent treatment, it works out so good because then it pisses her off to the point where she breaks up with you. And you make it seem like it's her idea.
Vince's end game is breakups.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Clearly.
So I have the opposite problem, right? Is I am and I've talked about this on here many times. I'm an over communicator. There is no guessing game with me. Like I'll tell you what I need. I tell you what bothers me. I tell you what I love. I'm like a teacher, right? Like you're doing something great, I'm going to give you all the positive reinforcement. You're doing something bad, I'm going to critique everything that you say and tell you not critique, but like tell you like that hurt my feelings or I don't really like that. But I'm also a lot like you in the sense of like, I will also communicate like, I need a fucking minute. Like, I don't just do the silent treatment thing. I'll tell them, like, listen, if we keep talking right now, I'm going to say something fucking mean to you, and I'm trying not to do that, so I'm going to need you to walk away from me right now, and I'm going to need you not talk to me. So I feel like I'm almost like the other extreme. I over-communicate.
Yeah. I'll be honest, though. I don't do silent treatments. I just want, that was just a question.
Yeah.
Like, what if the guy did the whole thing? How do you chase him the same way? You expect the guy that you expect him to chase you?
That's how girls get restraining orders.
So,
no.
Next question.
Well,
Okay, explain. No.
No, so if I get, so there's the thing. I don't give the silent treatment. I just become silent.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think that when you're giving a silent treatment, you have an ulterior motive to get under the other person's skin. No, I just want to be silent. I want to be in my own. Let me figure out the things that I need to figure out. I'm not trying to be like, oh, if I don't text her, she's going to know that I'm upset with her. No, I just don't want to be around her right then and there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's no ulterior motive. I just want to be silent.
So your guys' silent treatment, I think, and I'm looped into that too, is almost what alleviates that silent treatment is space and time, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's the end of it. Whereas like other people are looking for an end game almost, right? Like a manipulative tactic.
Yeah, I give a precursor though. Mm-hmm. I go like, I don't want to really talk about that right now.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just move on.
Mm-hmm. I do that too.
I just don't go silent because then that becomes the problem.
Right. So
with not finishing my sentence.
Like, so in, right? in the whole silent treatment thing, there's some times where she'll say, hey, I want to talk about this. And I'll tell her, this isn't a good time for me to talk. I'm down to have a conversation with you. But if I were to say anything to you right now, I'm so pissed off that I know I'll regret saying what's on my mind.
That's where I think I do that. But I only do it once. If they keep coming back, now they're getting the silent treatment.
Oh, yeah. Burn them with a hot knife.
Because I have already told them. I've already told them one time. Mm-hmm. What? What do you mean burn them with a hot knife?
Yeah, you put the knife on the stove and then you cut them with it.
Yeah.
He just wants to hurt the person. That's all he's saying.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, though, is like when we talk about communication, it automatically turns to like conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, it's kind of interesting. Like I haven't done research on it, but like as I'm sitting here, like we talk about communication, but everything that we've done is talking about how to resolve a conflict between you and
well, that was one of the next questions that I had here was like, do you feel that certain communication promotes closeness and do some promote distance and do some make you feel heard and do some make you feel dismissed? Because there's different types of communication and that means it comes across different ways to people, right? So which one of those makes you feel like, okay, this is gonna solve this is conflict resolution, as you said, or this one is actually causing conflict, because they do both essentially.
I don't think you two are talking about the same thing.
Like for example, for him, I feel like his communication is not conflict resolution. It is always just to cause conflict.
No, I just want to end the conflict.
But it causes conflict.
For the other person, I'm completely cool with that. So I look at it the lesser of two evils. Either we're both pissed at each other or she could be pissed on her own.
But you said something different, right? Okay, can you repeat what you said?
Well, for me, it's like when we talk about like communication, it seems like whenever we talk about communication between partners or between people, and we discuss it, it's always about related to conflict. It's never about I don't even.
I think
the thing is like the hardest part is I can't even verbalize it, where you're talking about like empowerment type of communication. How do you nurture a relationship through communication?
Right.
We don't talk about it. We talk
have.
about how to
fix the bad stuff.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
no,
why.
but we've talked about that though, because whenever we talk about love language, that's a affirming mode of communication that is catering to the positive, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
we've talked
I mean,
about
I
that.
agree with you, but that's why I brought up the next question, is because that was my next question, is like, how do these types of communications, how can you use them to actually promote closeness in a relationship as opposed to conflict?
Not doing it. I mean, you just got to figure out what the assertive one is and try to be as assertive as possible. Active listening, repeat back. I mean, like somebody says something, you repeat it again and said, okay, I get it. I understand.
I have
Yes,
something
Bayan,
for
go
you.
on.
So I was listening to a podcast where he was talking about if you empower somebody, they'll usually rise up to it. Rather, if you put them down, then they'll just get defensive with you.
Right.
And so like that's one way you can use communication to bring closeness, is to empower them through words. Like, I know you're really strong, so I want you to da 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 da. So like you're basically using communication, and it's not conflict. It's just more about communicating something with somebody to get them to move towards their goal or move towards something positive.
Yeah, I think that's the problem in relationships, right? Is that like we see anything negative as a conflict, as opposed to like this is an opportunity for us to gain closeness or understanding amongst one another. And I almost feel like you have that issue sometimes.
I feel like I'm always the example in this.
No, I'm just saying because of the way that you communicate, and I'm not trying to like make an example of you, but I am.
No, it's okay. I actually appreciate that.
Because you go in with almost like this mentality of wanting to be right or proving the other person wrong. And I know you say like, no, I go in trying to understand them, but most of the time, even here on the podcast, when you speak, there's always a rebuttal to everything, is how I feel. Am I wrong?
Well, I try to look for rebuttals because there are different perspectives than the ones that we have, and I do want to see things from different angles. Like, and sometimes I'll even say, I don't agree with this, but let me give another perspective. I've done that before, and for me, it's a lot of just conflict resolution that I've gone through, and it's oftentimes choosing the lesser of two evils. I've noticed that there's three types of people that we have on this podcast, or that are on podcasts. There's the people that look for the right answer. There's the people that want their answer to be right, and then there's people that just want the other person to be wrong. Like we've had like another person on this podcast before where they just wanted to prove me wrong. I've done that to them just because I thought it was hilarious. But there's also times where, you and Rich and Lonnie and Bayan would want the right answer. There's times where people think that their answer is right, so they're just trying to prove the other person wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, or they're just trying to prove their point.
Right.
So I try to look at it from all the other ones, but let's just be honest. The one that I do is the most fun.
You think, I just thought of this right now. I mean, do you think that could be mentally exhausting to your partner? Your communication style?
You guys think that things are so difficult, but honestly, your life is really not that hard.
No, it's not hard for you, but for your partner.
For the partner that you're with, because it sounds like the way that you communicate in particular is it's what serves you. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm done with this conversation, so I'm at peace. But if it leaves the other, not even a partner, right? Whether it's a friendship or a person of intimacy, if it leaves the other person feeling either unheard or unsatisfied or gaslighted, then it leaves the other person feeling exhausted, as Rich said. Do you see it that way or no?
So what's the point? What do you
Explain.
No.
In man terms.
I mean, it's just like, it's like all that it's like the mental gymnastics is so
Right.
exhausting
Right.
to figure out where you stand.
Where, as in me?
Yeah, as in
Like
you.
me-
Like if I was dating you.
So this isn't an example. I'm the actual problem in this scenario. No, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
No, I'm
understand.
asking because
Yeah.
you're saying you know, if you went silent, all well and good, I'm done. It's easy for me. But a lot of that stuff was me. But you're leaving your partner hanging. Is it you think your communication style, and I do this too to some degree, is it exhausting to your partner that wants to invest the time and the effort to, one, listen to you, and two, to understand you, and three, be there for you, only for you to essentially leave them hanging because it suits you?
Well, I would say that it is unfair, especially on my part to them. Like, it's unfair for them.
Okay, you can admit
But
that.
But
That's
I
growth.
also say that it's not the fact that I don't want to give the time, but it is the timing. Because, like I said before, if my emotions get the better of me, then I'm just gonna start saying things like sarcastically, or I'm just going to try to just to egg them on, or just to piss them off a little bit more, just so that they can break up with me and I'm good, you know.
What
But
communication style was that?
huh?
That's the end all.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Oh, you pulled them in, so I see it.
but why is the end goal for them to break up with you? Like,
Because I don't want to be with them anymore. If I make sense and they don't,
But where's the compromise in that? Which is like a
why would
huge
you
part-
compromise with somebody that's wrong?
because sometimes you have.
What if they're not wrong? I think
Listen,
here's how you see it.
there
You
was
see,
that-
there's the problem, there's Vince, there's the partner, but Vince thinks that he's against his partner with the problem, but you're actually together trying to solve this problem and then move forward.
No,
together.
Right.
it's me against the problem, and she can come if she wants.
No.
No.
No. Listen.
That's why you keep breaking up.
Exactly.
Have you not learned? I don't break up. Well, I did. Sorry, yeah, you know that. Yeah, I did break up. But generally, I don't break up.
You did say something good in your statement that I do want to pull is he said sometimes it's not so much it's more the timing, right? I think that's a big deal in good communication too, is like reading the room, like
When did I
time
say
and
that?
place, like right
Just
now.
right now.
Right now, which I was like, oh, that's actually a good point, because like you said, when feelings are, that goes to more like conflict resolution or like positive communication. I think that that's a big key in communicating with friends, family, partners, is the timing, right? Like
Yeah.
once it's heated or when it's like fresh, it's never a good time to communicate. But once everyone's kind of like in therapy, they called it when you're flooded. If you're flooded with your emotions, then usually you communicate in a way that's not productive. But once you're able to kind of like settle your feelings down and able to process them properly, then the communication is essentially a positive interaction.
Yeah, I think if did I really say that? Not all of that, but I mean like
I mean, you said a snippet, and then the rest was all bad.
because all the stuff that I think that I said was probably something that just sounded cool because like time versus timing or whatever.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
you said. Mhm.
So I think the end goal for that is just me trying to get through something faster.
To break up with them.
No, well, this is the way I see it. If I am not in the right frame of mind and the timing is bad, I will have that. I'll put in that time, but everything during and following that is going to be full of resentment.
Yeah.
Versus if I can gather my thoughts and give the other person time to gather their thoughts, then we can have an adult conversation.
So, okay, say you guys give each other time to gather, just hypothetically, you guys give each other time to gather your thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you still disagree with her thought process.
But at least I won't be spiteful or trying to prove her wrong. I'll be listening and I'll still make a decision. Whether she's right or I'm right, I'll have a better understanding of the situation.
Are you capable of saying sorry if you feel like you're not wrong?
No. Why would I do that?
Why does it have to be if she's wrong or I'm wrong? Why is it there's no scenario where you guys are on the same team?
Well, we can compromise. But I mean, if we're going to have a conversation, a conflict resolution, then we're obviously opposing each other. Like, I can't say blue is my favorite color. And she's like, yeah, it better be. And I'm like, I just said that.
Well, I'm just saying, like imagine you guys are.
I've been losing the feeling in my hands, so I'm just happy that I was able to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So imagine you guys are you guys are arguing about something. Like there's a problem going on. Why is it that it has to be you against her for the problem? Why can't it be like, oh shit, there's a problem going on. Like, let's solve it together. Let's figure this out so we can keep being together. There's no breakup. It's just there's a problem. We have to solve it.
So if I was dating you and some guy was like pissing me off and he was like dating a hyena, I'd be like, yo, you need to come with me and fight her because I don't hit women hard.
What?
Because that's
What? I'm so got lost.
Because that's a common problem where we would be working together for a common goal. But if we have a confliction between each other, then we're on opposing teams. So there's no, either we're on the same team going into a problem or we are.
Use a different example because I'm still fucking lost.
Yeah, I'm lost too. I'm like,
Okay, so like,
no, not you.
No, him.
Oh, I was like, wait, okay.
Not you. Yeah.
No, I understood your question. I can't understand his answer. Use a different
Well,
example.
the only reason that I brought that up is because that, yes, there can be a problem where we would be both working to resolve that. But there's different components of that. There may be, like, let's say, the example that I was saying. Some dude wants to fight me. His girl is going to be there. She's wearing heels and has long-ass nails. I'm not going to hit that girl. So we would solve it together, but you have to jump in and fight her.
That's not a good example.
So that's an example of us having the same goal. Now, if we have the same goal where we need to make more money, right? My conflict resolution is to put in more hours or take a second job. Her conflict resolution is start selling pictures of her feet or start an OnlyFans. Then our conflict, although our end goal is the same, our conflict is the means of how we're going to achieve that. So at that point, yeah, we can't be on the same team.
Why?
So
you're still on the same team.
No, we're not, because the way we get money are conflicting. The fact that we need money, that's a joint venture or whatever.
But why wouldn't you be able to come to an agreement of how you're going to get money where you can both be happy? Like, why does it have to be conflicting ideas?
Well, because if she starts
scenario.
an OnlyFans, I won't be happy with that. If I spend more time doing photo shoots with other girls or not being at home, she won't be cool with that. So there's the conflict.
But why does it have to be OnlyFans? Like,
No, this is my example. So listen to it.
Okay, so what about this? Would
you prefer prostitution and hitman? Okay, prostitution and hitman. I'm a contract killer, and she's selling her labia to people.
Oh my God. Okay, okay.
Like Jet Li and Aaliyah.
Remember we were talking about earlier how you were like, there's certain situations where people think I'm a little bit too sarcastic or like I'm kind of mean and joking.
Right.
And the compromise is I'm more sensitive about that. That's the compromise.
More aware,
more sensitive about it, etc. So that is a conflict towards you that you still found a way to get through together. So that's an example. How would you deal with that? Like, say the conflict is with you directly. Like, hey, babe, I don't really like the tone that you talk to me in, and I feel like you're really rude to me.
So I stopped talking to you.
So that's okay.
Well, problem solved.
No.
Do you not like the way that I talk? No. Okay, I won't talk to you.
So that's what she's talking about.
Text.
Is why can't there be a resolution where you're still talking, but she's still happy? Like, oh, okay, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll try to be a little bit more sensitive in my tone.
Or what is it? What is it that I do that you don't like? Like you open the conversation,
exactly.
you try to untangle this problem.
But that's why he said he's never broken up with them. They've always broken up with him.
See how easy that is? See? Okay,
there is no
season
compromise,
1, there's a breakup guide. we should put that in there.
So wait, so there is no conflict resolution then with you when it comes to an issue that is in regards to yourself.
There is.
Yeah,
Break
there is.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at all of the things that are going on. You take whatever is bad and you remove that, and then that's your resolution.
But when do you know? When do you know that one person is worth fighting for? If you immediately just put up walls and block everybody away at a certain point in a conflict.
Right.
Why would I fight for somebody?
I don't think it's one person. I think it's you update your personal development to be able to
Right.
just.
No, but okay.
But he's saying he already stated it. He's not willing to fight for anybody.
Well, yeah.
That's the answer.
Like for you guys, my friends, my daughter, my mom, yeah, I would fight for you guys unless you pissed me off.
Then we fall.
then you're not my friend anymore.
Then I
No,
would
but
be
I'm
fighting
saying-
with you.
like when you get into a relationship, just always the ebb and flow of it, where you
Right.
have to fight for the relationship.
Exactly.
Right.
For the relationship.
For the relationship. And it's like, it doesn't make sense where you're just like, at the first sign of conflict, you run away.
Well, there's red flags. There's also yellow flags and there's green flags. So if there's a red flag, yes, I'll run away. If there are yellow flags, proceed with caution. Then it's like, okay, maybe we should work together on this and find a resolution.
But you just openly said that you wouldn't like compromise if she said that you were doing something to hurt her feelings. You would just be like, well then don't deal with me then.
Yeah. Because in that yellow flag scenario, let's say that I really love this girl. I think that we should progress. We should maybe move in together and start having like joint accounts. But in that, you have to look, okay, why is she in debt? And it's like, oh, she keeps on doing these things. Or why am I in debt? Let's use me as the example. Why am I in debt? Oh, because I keep on buying camera equipment. Because I keep on buying like DJ equipment and stuff like that. Or what's a resolution? Okay, let's find all of the things that I have to have, such as just these 2 cameras as opposed to the other 9 that are in there, right? I'll take those 9 and then I'll sell those and then I'll chip away at my debt and then I'll be more responsible. But the problem in it was my spending habit. So I cut that out and then we have our resolution. And if I could stick to that, then we could progress as a couple. But if not, if I still have my bad habits, there's no compromise. This is what's ruining our relationship. Me being, or her being okay with me being that bad person is not okay. She should break up with me.
Yeah, but you're speaking of something that's like a tangible, like an item, right? Like, but I'm talking about like, what if you do something that's emotional, like that hurts her feelings? There is no like, oh, I'm gonna just stop talking. Like that's not sustainable in a relationship.
I'm having a hard time visualizing this. Can you use us as an example?
Well, that's kind of like the example like me and Rich were talking about earlier. Like, you know, your personality is that you're sarcastic and you like joke around, right? You're
Okay.
like, yeah, you're fucking stupid. Like you joke like that with me, right? And I come to you later and I'm like, hey, you know, when you joke like that, I don't really like that you do that often. Are you just gonna like not give a fuck and be like, well, too bad, that's my personality, fuck off? Or are you gonna be like, oh shit, I didn't realize that kind of hurts her feelings, and I'm gonna take a step back and try to compromise and not joke like that as much?
I propose a C.
Ew.
I propose an option C.
What's option C?
I show you why you're wrong.
Oh my god. Huh?
Because okay, in that you said that I called you stupid. No, I said what you did is stupid.
No, you're okay. No, it's not even like we're actually fighting. We're joking, right?
Okay.
Like, we're joking around, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, ha, 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 you're fucking stupid. And I'm like, dude, that kind of hurts my feelings when you tease me like that. Like, you make me feel actual stupid. Don't do that. But you're joking, but it hurts my feelings. Would you be like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't like those kind of jokes, and stop it because you want us to be together and happy and harmonious? Or would you be like, well, if you can't fucking take a joke, then stop talking to me then?
No, I would cut that out. So I would still tell those jokes, but you won't be part of it. And this is why guys need to have their alone time. There's things that I'm going to say with Rich where we joke around and we say the dumbest things and are borderline racist
Well, and that's why I use
to our
that
own race, you know,
Yeah.
because we're allowed to, you know. We're going to say things that are going to just be venting and stuff like that, but we don't take that home to our women.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. But what if you did and she said she didn't like it? You would be willing to stop?
I wouldn't be willing to stop. I would just stop doing it with you.
Yeah.
So that's compromise.
That's compromise.
But again, it's cutting out the problem. The problem is you not liking my jokes. So I won't joke with you anymore.
So you're saying that you can do that, though?
Yeah.
Would you do that in a passive aggressive way where you don't joke with me
He just said it in a passive aggressive way.
That's why I'm asking.
Exactly.
Well, then I won't joke with you anymore.
Exactly. Does that mean like now we can't even have fun anymore because now you're just going to be like, well, I can't say anything funny around you.
Yeah.
No. I'll just stop doing it.
Stop being funny around them?
Well, I'll just, whatever I think they're talking about that offends them, I will stop doing that around them. But I'm not going to be like, well, I was going to say something funny, but you're here. I'm not going to do that.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
Okay,
like
okay.
that's kind of messed up because we're still friends or we're still a couple or whatever. I still want
Friends?
to progress as that. You know what I'm saying? No, but like what my point is this is that I'm not going to ruin that relationship. You know, a good relationship. If I just met you, I don't care. But if it's between us and I know that you think, or I'm sorry, I won't say it like that. I know that some of the things that I say make you feel that I don't appreciate you the way they'd be appreciated. So I will stop saying those things the way that I say them.
So if I was like,
to
it
you.
really hurts my feelings when I ask you twice if you want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And would you be like, okay, I'm going to stop telling you I thought I told you the first time and be like, no, you know what? I'm good.
Can we role play this?
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
role play it.
Okay, well, let's
Okay.
role play.
Role play it.
Hey, Vince, are you hungry?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, cool. And then I ask all them, are they hungry? And then I go, hey, Vince, are you sure you don't want anything? What's your normal response? Let's go there first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there when I said it. No.
You know, Vince, it actually kind of hurts my feelings when you like ask, when you say it like that, because I was just trying to be like considerate and you're being mean.
I appreciate that and I acknowledge that. I will.
It's like, you can't do it.
So,
Exactly.
so now that we've had that conversation, let's try it again.
No, just try again.
Let's try it again. Let's no, go ahead. Now that we've had that conversation.
The conversation's not done though. I'm telling you, it bothers me. How are you going to respond to that?
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, Vince, are you hungry?
No, thank you.
Are you guys hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey, Vince, I'm about to take off right now. Are you sure you're not hungry?
Just get something extra that you like, and then I'll eat whatever is left over.
Oh my God, you say that to me all the time. That's why you say that?
Yeah.
What?
See, in this particular scenario, if I don't want the food still because I was right the first time she asked me, she gets more food that she likes.
There we go.
I mean, okay. Okay, so another question.
So is that bad? Like,
but no, because then now I just feel like you're like,
Now you're being fake and phony.
yeah, now you're being fake.
no, because if I change my mind later,
Well,
I
you
can
didn't,
eat
you
it.
didn't know he was being fake or phony. Now you do.
And did that work in your favor
The
before?
realization right now, like, oh, I know he's done that to me too.
I've heard
So,
that sentence.
so what's? Let me ask you this: what is the downside of how I responded?
There really isn't.
There really is.
There's not.
There's not.
But now I know it's fake, so now I'm gonna think that every single time.
No, but if I do change my mind, which I won't, because I use the code TheBabes10 when I order Mikey's meals, and I always have enough food. So if you want up to 10% off or 0, I don't know if that code is active. Go to Mikey'sMeals.com and use the code TheBabes10, and you can get up to 0% off apparently.
I mean,
But
Okay.
yeah, this is real life.
So here's another question: how do you think our cultural backgrounds affect our communication styles?
Oh, huge. I think our cultural backgrounds and then our parents growing up in that culture. Like,
Right.
Like, I think my mom, for example, and I have been talking a lot about how she grew up. She was in a forced marriage. And so her wedding day was not a happy day for her. And so she was like telling me about how she was communicated to. And then as she was saying that, I started like realizing some of the things that I do, like some of my passive aggressiveness, I feel like it comes from like generations of experiencing it. So I think depending on who's raising us and then in what cultural environment they were raised in, I think it just keeps trickling down until we catch it and we do personal development around it.
I agree with that because, for example, like in the Filipino culture, right, it's very normal to walk up to someone and be like, oh, my God, you're getting fat, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Or just walking up. And like in this culture, in the American culture, that is extremely rude. That's body shaming, you know? But in our culture, it's like, well, we're saying that because we want you to be aware so you'll work on yourself. Like it's well intended, you know? Or sometimes it's even like, oh, you're getting fat because you look healthy and you must be wealthy and eating a lot. So
like sometimes you don't even care like what it is.
Right. They're just saying it to say it. Like for me growing up, I was told that my whole life, like, oh my God, you're so fat, you know? And I remember being like, what the fuck? Who says that to people, you know? But now that I'm older, I realize it's a cultural thing. Like they didn't necessarily mean it in a mean and vindictive way. It's just like a comment that they say, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that culture like plays a big play in understanding, because if I was to do that to my kids now that are raised, you know, more Americanized, they would definitely have their feelings hurt. And I don't think I would ever have the heart to say that to them.
I don't know what you said because I was gone. But what I think happened was there's also consider the background that they have.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, cultural background.
Well, in the sense that my parents are first generation here from the Philippines. So there's also a language barrier where things don't translate the same.
Right.
And the way that they say things, if it's translated into the original language, it is endearing. But the literal
form.
Translation of it, because they may not know the different ways to say it, it comes off that way. We have this advantage of us not being the first generation, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely like certain things that my brothers want me to say to my mom because I'm the eldest, so I kind of understand the cultural difference more. And they'll be like, you say it. She gets it better when you say it, you know, because you can speak, you know, you're like the Filipino whisperer is like what they joke around about, you know? So I definitely think that culture, or another example I think is like Asian men, right? Like Asian men are known to kind of be stoic and like not really express their feelings and things like that. I've had a lot of male friends be like, I didn't grow up with my dad asking me like how my fucking day was.
More passive role.
They're more passive. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like a positive and a negative. Like you can learn different ways of understanding communication, but also if you carry on like what you say, like the generational like curses of communication, it starts to trickle down like the.
Yeah.
So was I'm curious. What I said, was that relevant? Because I was just, the last thing I heard was that Bayon's mom got married in a forest. And I was like, that's beautiful.
No, a forced marriage. Not in a forest.
Not in a forest.
Oh.
Where she's from, there are very little forests.
I think what also...
That's why it's cool.
Where cultural backgrounds help with communication in intimate relationships, I feel like if the two of us speak two languages, there is a lot more connection than if one person only speaks one language and doesn't really understand like
so
the
you want
other
a cultured
person.
man.
A cultured man, yeah. And then if you both speak both of the same languages, you can mix and match those languages, and I feel like it develops a much closer relationship than if, like, for example, I was dating somebody who didn't speak Farsi, and so every time we would go to a Persian event, I had to sit there and translate for him the whole time. So now I have a translating job in the middle of like...
Yeah, that makes it difficult.
Yeah. Versus like if I dated someone who was Persian, he already gets the culture. Like he already gets my uncle's jokes. And,
right.
And that's
like,
a preference that's valid.
Yeah. Like in communication, I think it really helps to communicate the same languages and the same cultures.
It's hard. It's good that you can be accommodating in that way. When I've had a girl friend that was Mexican, but she was pretty whitewashed, but we tried to accommodate to her. So when we went to we would go to our family dinners and everything, and at home we're speaking Tagalog, but our dialect, Chapacano, is highly influenced with Spanish. So I told them, like let's speak more Chapacano around her as opposed to like the Tagalog or let's just speak English. So it was mostly Chapacano and English. But that's our dialect, so we were comfortable with that. But there was no Tagalog spoken around her because we didn't make her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it helps when you understand the cultural background and the definition of something.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the intent gets lost too with cultural background. Like, there's an example. Like, I have a family member that told one of my other family members that was crying that was a male, right? Like, just be a fucking man. Men don't cry, and she meant be strong. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what she meant. It was well intended, but that person very much took it as like an insult, and they like didn't talk forever after that. Not forever, but like a long time. He was like, I can't believe she would fucking, say something like that when I'm going through some hard shit. Like, I am a fucking man, like blah, 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 blah. In her head, she's like, what did I say wrong? Like, I'm just telling him like, men don't cry, you're strong,
Well,
so.
it's obvious that he wasn't fucking a man, fucking whining bitch.
Wow, you must be Filipino. No, I'm just kidding.
No, sometimes, hey man, like listen, yeah, you got to be strong. You got to suck it up sometimes. And that's what it really is. Like I get the whole thing. I cry I cry when I watch K-dramas all the time. But
I cried yesterday. Everybody thought that I just watched A Walk to Remember, but no, it was just allergies.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think like sometimes it gets lost in translation is what I'm saying. Like sometimes maybe that was a bad example because you feel a certain type of way clearly. I'm like,
get out of your feelings. Like, hey. What the hell? I like, okay. That's sometimes that's just how I be. You have to be the backbone, and you can't be the backbone and show weakness in very in the middle of conflict.
That's true. But also, like another example is like, you hear boys say like, my dad never told me he loved me, right? And that seems to carry a lot of scars and like trauma for younger generations. But then when you really look at the culture, but he said it in other ways, right? Like he said it by providing, he said it by fucking giving you the clothes off of his back or whatever.
I think that's where when you get from the Eastern philosophy to the West, to America, we create a lot of fucking rules that are not meant for the whole world. We expect the whole world to bow down to these simple set of rules that we do, that we impose on ourselves here in America.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not, it's like, as you said, my dad never told me he loved me. Well, I saw that on fucking Facebook many, many times.
Yeah. But
your dad also worked 70 hours a week to offer a room and board for you. That's how he showed his love, because that's how they showed it
in their culture.
In their culture.
But do you think that if that child needs that he should receive that?
Well, I think so, but then you can't go back and be like,
my dad didn't love me.
My dad didn't love me.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I agree with that. Yeah.
So how do you agree with that, but you don't agree with my method of
this guy? Of what?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're gonna say, but I'm already
but
what?
it's like there's a particular set of rules. It's these are my non-negotiables, and if something happens where it's just stupid, then cut it out. That stupid thing might be the other person, but yeah, it's like that's how I.
I'm excited to the edits because it's gonna be her facial expressions and you talking.
There's somebody deep sea fishing right now.
No, I'm curious. Why is it so hard to understand how I have a zero tolerance for certain things? But
his is not zero tolerance. His is saying that he's saying the same thing in just a different way. So his example of like, you can't say that your dad didn't love you because he did all these things. You can't be like, well, you're just stupid, end of conversation. There has to be a different form of communicating.
I think the one thing is that we concentrate so much on like, my dad didn't love me, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm guesstimating, there was a mom there that constantly told the kids what their dad was doing.
Right.
But you're just too young to ever fucking listen.
Right.
Or you're too, stuck on yourself to even want to pay attention to that.
Like my dad doesn't say I love you, but he comes and says, "Do you need money?" Or like he'll be like, are
Right?
you okay? Are
you
you
hungry?
Are you
Yeah.
hungry?
Yeah.
Did
Filipinos
you
do that a
sleep
lot.
last night?
Yeah.
How's everything going? But he won't actually say I love you.
Or they'll be like, be safe.
Yeah,
you know?
he'll like be safe, or he'll be like he'll make sure that I'm provided for and
Yeah.
cared for, but he won't necessarily be like, I love you.
Yeah.
And sometimes like even when he hugs me, like he'll hug me like this because he's just not. And
It's not affectionate.
talking to my mom, I understand because growing up in his family household, like they didn't have that.
Yeah, that comes
He
that
wasn't
cultural thing.
exposed to it. And so me growing up here, learning about the Western culture, like you're saying, it's like, it was frustrating at first. I was like, my dad doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. But then once I started like diving deeper into like, no, he does love me. He just shows it differently.
And sometimes there are no words for I love you in that sense.
Right.
Like in Tagalog, what is I love you?
Mahal kita.
But you hardly ever hear that said
To a child.
to a child.
Right. It's like usually to a lover.
Yeah, to a lover. So it's again, there's that cultural difference that I think that our West influence,
They don't understand it. Yeah.
we try to impose what we think is right
Yeah,
to
'cause,
the
like,
rest of the world.
In Tagalog, you'd hear parents say, "Ingat anak," you know, like take care. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
their
yeah.
way of saying I love
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
right?
Well, they said ikaw ang bahala.
That means like that means like whatever. Like that does not say I love
or like
you.
kain na,
Yeah,
you know, kain na, like,
Let's sit and eat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's true. So, how do you think you can improve your communication styles, guys?
I just gotta listen. I gotta listen, acknowledge it, and say, I fucked up again.
Again,
Why is that on me?
I'm just looking to see how you think you can improve.
I'm. How would I improve?
Do you want to?
Well, I don't see a problem, but maybe I'm just not listening enough.
Okay.
Is that what you want to hear? Use that. That's the answer, fellas. Stay toxic, kings.
Yeah.
I don't know
You,
because
you actually think that there's a group of guys, like a group of toxic guys going, that's my king over there.
Yep.
You're right, violinist.
you know that happens on Wendy's.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, I would honestly say that if I were to improve, or if I can put more effort into improving how I communicate, maybe having a zero tolerance for them is not a bad or is not a good thing. I don't know.
I'm going to do 3 strikes. You're out now, guys. That's improvement.
Well, this is the thing is that I understand that my logic is flawed, but I also don't understand where the logic or the flaw in the logic is.
How do you know?
I know that I'm not like perfect. I know that I'm not always right, but I don't understand why I'm not right.
So maybe that's how you could work on your communication is by figuring that out. Because
So I should argue with me.
Yeah, well, you're the only one that's going to figure that out. Nobody can figure out for
But
you.
he just answered it
How?
because he's not willing to bend. He just says he doesn't understand why he's not right. But the minute you can't understand why you're not right, you're never wrong.
Right.
No, but I'm trying
No,
to.
he said he doesn't understand where his flaw is. He understands that he has a flaw.
Yeah, but how did he end it?
Yeah, and then he ended it with, I know that I'm not always right, but I don't understand why I'm not right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
No, but I
And
don't,
he just said, yeah, right now too. So.
But I really I do try to understand from both perspectives.
I feel like you don't. if
No, you
just
don't.
said
You said
that.
you don't understand why you're not right. That means you are never gonna be wrong because you have your own set of logic that's not gonna be that's not willing to bend or break to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're always gonna force the issue to make sure you are always right.
Or cut
That's
them
where the
off.
flaw is.
Yeah.
So you think that I'm trying to prove myself right instead of getting the right answer.
But
No, you're
talking
trying to
about-
impose the fact that you're gonna be right.
Right.
You're always gonna be correct. your way or the highway. End of story. And there's never gonna be a path out of that. That's why you say your way or the highway, and they break up with me. Easy day.
Yeah, either you're right or they're wrong. It doesn't matter. Like if they're wrong, then you're gonna leave. If you're right, then you're gonna stay. But there's never a time where like you'll be wrong.
Yes.
And you'll be okay with that.
You'll compromise only if it's on the right side of the compromise. Mm-hmm. They'll have to compromise to you. You'll never compromise to them.
So I'm trying to think of a time where I was wrong.
There's the problem again. Yeah.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
No, but like, because if I could, because I learn things by experiencing them,
but
or
it's not
visualizing
black
them,
and white. It's
like
not about like, yeah, she could be wrong in this situation, but it's how you handle that situation on your end that makes it wrong. Also, like how you handle it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like she could be totally wrong about what she's doing or what she's thinking, but the way you approach it, you're gonna prove to her that what she did is absolutely wrong.
Well, yeah, the lessons you learn the hard way are the lessons you have to only learn once.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you don't come in there hot like that.
Was that hot?
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know.
I have a scenario.
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Okay. So, I am dating this guy, and I decide that we're going to break up. I say, this isn't going to work out for me. Whatever, we need to break up. He says, let's go to therapy. And I say that if I go to therapy, I'm going in there to prove the therapist. I'm going to go in there to prove to the therapist that you and I are not good for each other. Versus if I go to the therapist and we try to solve the problem. So like,
Why?
Well, that's the thing. Those are the two ways that you can go to this therapist. If I go into this therapy session to prove to the therapist that I'm right,
That's the only reason to go.
We're gonna get out of that therapy session with no solution.
No,
So it's better not to even go.
Yeah, that's a better.
Yeah. I like that example because that's exactly right.
so don't go to a therapist.
Okay, so there's no helping this. So that's the conclusion, guys.
Wait, I don't get it. If you already know that you want to break up with them, just break up with them.
Right. But I'm saying like for couples, like if you didn't realize that before you go into the therapy session, you just go into that therapy session trying to prove your partner right or wrong in front of the therapist, you're not gonna solve the problem. But if you go into that therapy session with the mindset of we're going in here to solve a problem and the therapist is gonna help us solve this problem, then you're gonna actually solve the problem and come
No, but
out.
you've solved the problem already. They're the problem. Because you want to break up with them, correct?
But you could also be the problem.
But I could also be the problem.
Right.
Okay, so either way, the problem is removed. End result, in each scenario, you're single.
But what if you could solve
So
the
mission
problem?
accomplished.
Let's make it even bigger, right? So you have a couple that's together. They have a family. They have a home together. You're both having issues with each other. You both each think each other is right, right? So you go into this therapist, and kind of what she's saying, you can either go in there with a mentality of, watch, this therapist is going to tell you that I'm right. Right. Or you can go in there with, you know what, let's go in there. I think I'm right. You think you're right. But we have this family to fucking solve and to keep together. So let's go in there with an open mind.
And the therapist becomes more of a mediator.
Right. But you have the mentality of like, I'm going to go in there so this therapist will show you what I'm thinking is right.
Yeah.
Why would you do that, though?
Which one?
Like, why would you go in, like, not having an open mind? If you're having a mediator there's somebody that's going to translate it for you. If you want
So you're saying you wouldn't even go to therapy then if you felt you were right?
If
That's pretty much what I'm hearing.
Well,
right?
in the scenario that you have, if your end goal is to keep a family together, bring in the therapist. That way you have a mediator, but you have to be able to be willing to listen, because you could be the problem.
Oh my God, there's hope.
But
But you
But
just
if
said
you
that.
if you already know that they're the problem and you don't want to fix it, then just like
But that's what you
have
seem
the
to be.
divorce.
But you're coming in there with that second mentality off the bat
Every time.
every time.
Well, because what you said was you want to break up. So okay, break up.
Well, okay, let's rewind.
But sometimes people want to break up and then there's a change of heart because there's a realization that they were wrong.
Well, it sucks
Right.
to be you.
Well,
That's called accountability.
no, it's not.
All right.
Those are
I'm tired now, guys.
repercussions.
I'm tired now.
I just, man.
Okay, if you're watching this episode and you think that there is any hope in making Vince understand, go ahead and put it in the
Why
comments.
is it always about me?
Well, somebody may help somebody understand.
Help somebody, because there's probably a lot of people that have Vince's mentality. So
They probably think I'm wrong.
yeah, so explain your side if you're on Vince's side. If you are on our more open-minded side, then let's try to make Vince understand. But
Not how unopen-minded am I if I'm willing to stop thinking about one person and open my mind to the rest of the world that is female? That's open-mindeder than you guys are because you're just focusing on one person.
Yeah. So Vince's version of conflict resolution is just to nip it in the bud.
Yep. All right. Well, we love you, Vince. I'm glad you're my friend and not my boyfriend.
Stay you, king.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stay you, king.
By the way, Gen Z, you all suck.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you stayed throughout that whole episode, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. And hopefully the next episode will have more hope for Vince. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.